Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanantari Yamuna Tira Vanantari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanantari Yamuna Tira Vanantari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Bolo. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Hari Vrata Gachad, Stotra Satta, Sri Srimad, Divine Grace, Siraboy Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, ISKCON Deviti, Founder Charya Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Antaraj Bhagavatam ki, Jai Thai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Surya has come. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhuktale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Tadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanditam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Yapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamame Hare Priya Vanchakalpa Trivyasya Sindhu Jaivasya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraya. For reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam which is a very means of conquest. Let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supreme human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati tamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Ishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Sridham Vyasadeva. It is meant for the is all transcendental, all perfect, all successful. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vācanam pāṅgum lāṅgayate girim yat kripa tamaham bande Srigurum dinataranam yat kripa tamaham bande. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, entitled Pure Devotional Service, and today we are reading text number 25. Atha abhidehi anga mano nukulam prabhashase bhagavata pradhanah yad ah vayasakir atma vidya visharado Dripatim sadhu vistah athabidehyanga manonukulam prabhashase bhagavata pradhanah yadaha vaya sakir atma vidya विशारदो नृपतिं साधु पृष्टः अथाभिधेयङ्गः मनोनुकूलम् प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः यदाह वयासकीर्आत्मविद्या विशारदो नृपतिं साधु पृष्टः मथाभिधेयं मनोनुकूलम् प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः यदाह वयासकीरात्मविद्या विशारदो नृपतिं साधु पृष्टः अहं प्रीतियङ्गमनोनुकूलम् प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधान यदाह वयासकीरात्मविद्या विशारदो नृपतिं साधु पृष्टः अथाभिधेयङ्गमनोनुकूलम् प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः य आह वयासकीरात्मविद्या विशारदो नृपतिं साधु पृष्टः अथाभिधेयङ्गमनोनुकूलम् प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः य आह वयासकीरात्मविद्या विशारदो नृपतिं साधु पृष्टः अथा therefore abhidehi please explain anga O Sutta Goswami manah mind anukulam favorable to our mentality prabhashasi you do speak Bhagavata the great devotee pradhanah the chief yat aha what he spoke Vayasaki Shukadeva Goswami Atmavidya transcendental knowledge Visharada expert Nripatim unto the king Sadhu very good Krista being asked translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Oh, there's no purport. Oh, there's the short purport, okay. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Oh, Sutta Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please, therefore, explain this to us as it was spoken by the great devotee, Shukadeva Goswami, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge, and who spoke to Maharaj Parikshit upon being asked. Can you repeat after me? O Sutta Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain this to us as it was spoken by the great devotee Sukadeva Goswami, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge and who spoke to Maharaj Parikshit upon being asked. Knowledge explained by the previous Acharya, like Shukadeva Goswami, and followed by the next, like Sutta Goswami, is always powerful transcendental knowledge, and it is therefore penetrating and useful to all submissive students. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the second canto, third chapter of the Bhagavatam, entitled Pure Devotional Service, the Change of Heart. Translation again. O Sutta Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain this to us as it was spoken by the great devotee Shukadeva Goswami, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge and who spoke to Maharaj Parikshit upon being asked. So this is the scene that is taking place in Naimisharanya, where the Bhagavatam, as we know, was spoken for the, you can say, the second time. First time was spoken on the banks of the Ganges by Srila Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And we know the history, how simultaneously there was a large gathering of sadhus. This is the, we can say, Indian culture or Vedic culture, not only Indian culture, Vedic culture, that people, especially saintly persons, those who are devoted and dedicated to the subject matter as mentioned here of Atma Vidya. Atma Vidya, the science of the soul or transcendental knowledge. They assembled together on special occasions. Actually, they assembled together every day, just like we have Bhagavatam class every day, to hear about and to exchange on subject matters relating to Atma Tattva. So Shukadeva Goswami was initially part of that very large assembly of sadhus who were meeting in Naimisharanya. And this was at the very beginning, 5,000 years ago, the very beginning, Kali Yuga. And because Kali Yuga was had started, they their regular practice of lighting fire to perform this very difficult for us to understand, but they were performing what is described in the Bhagavatam. They were performing a 1,000. They were preparing to perform a 1,000-year yajna. We don't hear about 1,000-year yajna in ISKCON. Maybe 1-day yajna, 2-day yajna. Just like before marriage ceremony uh, was at least 1 week duration because so many different aspects of the yajna are there. The samskaras at that time were very elaborate because the main focus and activity of the common people and the main focus and activity of the leaders in society, especially naturally the brahmanas, but the monarchs, the leaders, kings at that time, because Vedic culture means following the principles and concepts of monarchy, which is very different than today's democracy. Monarchy means where there is a qualified person who from very early childhood has been trained. Just a few days ago, I'll just read this actually because it's quite pertinent. We were sharing some of the activities that are going on in our Varnasrama Gurukula, South India, and we had shared how our boys were performing as normally in Gurukul. In Gurukul, young boys, they are living in the ashram. They are permanent residents. It's not like the day school concept of modern day society. Real education is where one is spending full time, is fully under the care and guidance of qualified teachers, qualified brahmanas. And so we were sharing some of the activities during the month of February. Every month we try to share with devotees what are the ongoing activities. So last month the boys were engaged in Harinam, Kirtan. Actually, last month was the on Panchami was the first anniversary of the opening of Gurukula, Sayadri Prasad Gurukula in Panchami, which I think was 16th. And so like this, we were sharing some of their different activities. They also went to, because it was the appearance of Lord Varahadev. So there's one ashram that's called Varahavan. One of our devotees is looking after. And so boys from 2 Gurukulas, they went to that place. And they have very nice deity of Lord Varaha. And they also have a natural swimming pool. Because those who know about traditional agriculture we in traditional agriculture, one gets water either from a river that is close by, or a lake, or one makes a big well. I mean, very big well, maybe the size of this room. And so when you have a big well, it's like having a swimming pool. So one of the pictures that was taken, small video actually, the boys standing, about maybe 10 boys standing on the side of the big well, and one by one jumping in, because swimming is a bona fide authorized Vaishnava sport. Uh, One of the few sports that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna also, we hear about the sporting pastimes, splashing water and whatnot with other devotees. Anyways, we posted different activities like that. Also performing Go Puja on Purnima every month. We encourage devotees to perform Go Puja, because Go Puja, these lights can be closed now because the sun is very strong. The sun, yeah. Maybe this one you can keep. Got the fan going, and this, not this one. This one. Put this light. Okay. So after putting these videos and photo, it's called the Global Varnasrama mission, because that's where we have larger number of devotees. Then in one of the short videos, it was showing the boys doing kirtan. Anyways, it attracted a few responses from different devotees, and one devotee, everyone was very much happy, naturally, to see the different activities of the boys. And then one devotee sent a small reference that I want to read right now. Being inspired by seeing this type of, this is traditional education. Gurukul means traditional education, where in the early years of formation, one is encouraged to take up many varieties of activities. Because academics start usually a little later. Of course, some basic academics like reading, learning to write is there, but also there's a lot of outdoor activities, a lot of activities in connection with the land. Boys are also helping in agriculture, caring for cows. So here's the reference I was sent, which is actually from the Bhagavatam, very short purport from the fourth canto. From the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 12, 23. And Prabhupada writes, what was possible for Dhruva Maharaj. Gurukul means we naturally we remember and think about Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, who were very young, and because they took to devotional practice or performed tapasya, or had, in the case of Prahlad Maharaj, had the good association. Narada Muni, also another example. These are all very vivid examples of individuals who, from a young age, because they had the opportunity to associate and to hear transcendental subject matters, they became great devotees. So Prabhupada is making the point here that what was possible for Dhruva Maharaj, in previous yuga, is possible for anyone. Is possible even today. That's the point. What was possible before, when someone is given the opportunity from a young age to get good association, to hear transcendental subject matters, to become inspired about what is actually the real goal and the purpose of life. So what was possible in what we call bygone days, in the old days, is possible even today. You see, I'll just read. It's a short purport. What was possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for anyone. Any 5-year-old child can be trained, and within a very short time, his life will become successful by realization of Krishna consciousness. Very important point being made by Srila Prabhupada. If one, and that's why Vedic culture gives so much of emphasis and importance to having this type of education. This is real education. Unfortunately, this training is lacking all over the world. It is necessary for the leaders of the Krishna consciousness movement to start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train children starting at the age of 5 years. Thus, such children will not become hippies or spoiled children of society. Rather, they can all become devotees of the Lord. The face of the world will then change automatically. Just like what is taking place today in the world, because such training and education is not being provided to the young children. Therefore, from a very young age, they are exposed to bad association and take up bad habits, etc. And therefore, they are not able to become responsible parents. They are not able to become responsible and trained leaders in society. And therefore, it creates what is called ugra karma. A society where there is no proper direction, no proper guidance, and where there is ever increasing, we can say, confusion, disorder, dissatisfaction, anxiety, which ends up, of course, in all kinds of abominable activities, including wars, etc., like that, over very small disagreement. People become very belligerent, or very. They end up fighting for small, insignificant things. So this is the aspect being mentioned here this morning is specifically in terms of cultivation of this Atma Vidya. Which Krishna, of course, speaks about. The whole Bhagavad Gita is regarding Atma Vidya, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Pratyakshavagamam Dharmyam, Susukam Kartam Avyayam. So Bhagavad Gita, Vedic knowledge, especially Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and then of course Chaitanya Charitamrita. These are the three primary literatures that Srila Prabhupada has given to the whole world. And the nice point that Prabhupada is making in the purport, although very short purport, is very nicely stressing or underlining this this point of transmitting whatever knowledge Shukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. And of course, Parikshit Maharaj was fully absorbing the instructions being given to him by Shukadeva Goswami. But another personality, Sutta Goswami, who was sitting there also, he also heard with rapt attention. And he carried this knowledge with him after Shukadeva Goswami had delivered the message of the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Then, of course, the curse became a reality, and this came to its conclusion. Means that he was bitten by a snake and died, Parikshit Maharaj. So then, after that meeting was over, Sutta Goswami returned to Naimisharanya, carrying this message that he heard from Shukadeva Goswami. And now he is being asked by the leaders, or by the devotees, by the sadhus who are assembled in Naimisharanya, to kindly share this knowledge. And of course, this is what will be taking place. And the point Prabhupada is making here is that when we nicely receive such knowledge, and when we share this knowledge, this is the way of parampara. This is how this message will become very potent and powerful, and will be able to bring about changes within society. And of course, in addition to this aspect of parampara, means hearing from the right source, and then having this quality of hearing also by submissive hearing, submissive students, Prabhupada mentions here. I'll just read, normally we read the text again, which we'll do at the end of the class, but the purport is like the same length as the text, so we can read the purport again here, and by Srila Prabhupada. Knowledge explained by the previous acharyas like Shukadeva Goswami, and followed by the next like Sutta Goswami, is always powerful transcendental knowledge. That is why the commentaries of our acharyas is so important. That is one of the main reasons also why these transcendental literatures given to us by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada are also so powerful. Of course, Srila Prabhupada himself was a pure devotee, is a pure devotee of the Lord, coming down in Guru Parampara, but he also introduced within these different purports of the Bhagavatam, of the Bhagavad Gita, the commentaries, the realizations from our major Vaishnava acharyas, who themselves had written commentaries on the Bhagavatam, isn't it? This is how Srila Prabhupada gave to the whole world whenever he would be translating. He would be translating from the original Sanskrit text, looking and reading the commentaries from various acharyas like Sridhar Swami, who is known as the foremost of the commentators on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, the Goswamis of Vrindavan, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, different acharyas, because Bhagavatam is the source, greatest source of knowledge, greatest source of inspiration, and therefore great personalities are various acharyas who have read these this Srimad Bhagavatam and who have written their commentaries. This has been shared in these purports, and therefore, as Prabhupada rightly points out here, when it is presented in this way, sharing the transcendental realizations from previous acharyas, it makes for very powerful transcendental knowledge. And therefore penetrating and useful to all submissive students. Yeah, that means, and we have so many examples of this, all of us, we are we have become devotees. We are cultivating this science of Krishna consciousness. We have become attracted to this movement started by Srila Prabhupada. We have been attracted to the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the message of Lord Krishna has been given. Prabhupada went to the, to the extent of giving in the title of the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, isn't it? Bhagavad Gita as it is. And therefore that potency is there. So this is the end of this third chapter entitled Pure Devotional Service, the Change of Heart. Very wonderful purports Prabhupada has been given in this particular chapter. Of course, in all the chapters, such reports are there. And that means that we will now be entering or begin the hearing from the fourth chapter of the second canto, which is entitled The Process of Creation, beginning from tomorrow. So, any comments or questions today? No. Okay. So we can close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, all the Premanante.